but you know when it's I see the mouth.
I'm gonna get you one.
All connected.
Tonight, just in time, it's episode 57. Tune in and learn a little something about the world as we discuss the summer of 1992. When Nathan, Steve and I joined the Merchant Marines and traveled from port to port trying to enrich our lives and experience things we'd only read about in books written by French authors using fake names. Steve may show the tattoo he got in Borneo from a street ink artist, who using only dirty oil, melted Crayola crayons and a hypodermic syringe created in beautiful detail The Crossing of the Atlantic, by Lindbergh, on Steve's back. Nathan may sing the love songs he learned sitting on the steps of a thatched roof house of ill repute when we spent 3 weeks on the coast of a landmass we could never identify. I will try to as honestly recount as I can my search for returned love letters written by homesick soldiers to be published in the collection Please Don't Write Me Anymore. I'm dating Danny, who works at the cinema now. We've all grown as individuals since 1992, but I still say we were the best 3-on-3 basketball team the island of Rangoon ever hosted for their summer festival season. And this while we were unloading freight and cargo from huge ships during the morning hours, hustling the locals for a few bucks during the day, playing basketball and giving all that money back to the barkeeps and salty song singers at night. If we only had cell phone video back then. All the photos Nathan took we had to swap for bail money when we ran into the law in a little town east of Eden. But we can't really talk about that. Just watch the show and see if you can figure out which one of us tunneled his way out of a closet when we needed to get back to the ship and didn't comprehend the money exchange system and felt like we would be cheated if we admitted such. All the cool kids used to join the Merchant Marines. Now they play video games and pay too much for a haircut. In the Merchant Marines, the guy who peeled 150 pounds of spuds for our dinner also cut our hair with a can opener and we looked fine.
3 little frogs sitting on a log, one of them fell in. One frog said to the other frog, well, you better go get her. 2 little frogs sitting on a log, one of them fell in. Last little frog, he sat and thought, good thing they can swim. Jabber Jawn, Jabber Jawn, Jabber Jawn, Jabber Jawn. 3 little frogs sitting on a log, one burst into a grin. One frog said to the other frog, wonder what's got into him. 2 little frogs sitting on a log, one laughed until he is red. Last little frog, he sat and thought, must have been something I said. Jabber Jawn, Jabber Jawn, Jabber Jawn, Jabber Jawn. I thought you were sleeping. Welcome to the show, everybody. Nathan Moore, your host. This is Kyle Hogg. Steve Moore over here to my right. Jabber Jawn at your service. What's going on? So you're not feeling too good today, you say?
Well, no.
Has it been a rough week?
Slow week. Some things been better and some things have been slow. Mm-hmm. But I'm just not able to do as much as I would like to be able to get out and do things. I just can't. I don't have any energy. But, you know, as long as I'm not doing anything, I'm all right. So I'm good here. They had to, you know, carry me in and put me down, but other than that, I'm fine.
Oh, good. How you feeling?
I'm doing good.
Car troubles, huh?
Car troubles, man.
What's that story? What happened?
Can't open her.
Can open her.
I got out there. I said, can't open her. My car just, I had a dentist appointment at 8 o'clock. So I get out to the car and nothing, just key wouldn't turn, the brake wouldn't go down.
Did you want to go to the dentist?
No, but I hate canceling any doctor's appointments because I always think they think I'm lying. Like, oh, sure, your car won't start. Yeah, you just don't want to. But it was funny because I told her, she was like, oh, and I said, well, do you know anything about cars? And she said, no. I said, well, I explained it to her. She's like, try turning the steering wheel. And I said, that's what everybody keeps telling me.
Everybody keeps telling you to turn the steering wheel?
Yeah, like have you ever had like your key won't go if you jiggle the steering wheel? It'll, like, click.
Yeah.
So that's what everybody kept telling me to do.
Oh, you couldn't turn the key?
No, the key was just stuck, and then I've had that happen before. We jiggle the steering wheel or push on the brake, but the brake like took all my strength. I could only move it like that much, just barely. And then I just started freaking out. I was just in there, just cussing at the top of my voice in the car by myself at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Not the way to start out the day.
No.
Of course, you were heading to the dentist. So
I know, that's what I'm thinking. There's a party of us probably like, yes. They're not going to believe me, but it's so true. I can't go. So you didn't make your dentist appointment?
Didn't make the dentist appointment. And then she said,
Well, what were you having something done?
just a cleaning. Then she said, well, I'll put you on a cancellation. If somebody cancels, we'll call you. I said, well, don't call me tomorrow because I'm not sure if the car will be fixed. And she, we'll give you some time.
So you still don't know what's wrong with your car?
No. Tomorrow I'm going to, somebody else suggested it, and Lex suggested unhook the battery. Maybe that'll just clear everything up.
So you still can't turn the key? Mm-mm. Did you get the key out?
Yeah, it'll go in and out, but it just, you couldn't do anything.
God, so it's...
you need to get somebody else to try it. Maybe somebody else has a different... Yeah, the car might be rejecting you personally.
Right, that's true.
I mean, I'm not saying that's true, but I'm thinking...
I was
happened to you before?
Oh, yeah.
I was telling them my mom's been trying to give me my dad's old car, and I'm always afraid if I have a car that's running and she was going to give me that car, then my other car would just die, like out of spite. Like, oh, you don't care about me anymore. Just have the new car then. So last week she asked me, and I told her, give me 2 weeks and I'll have an answer for you. And it was last Saturday. So basically almost a week into the 2 weeks, my car just won't start.
Oh, it's already...
Like something's...
it knows something's it's been reading your mail.
I know.
All right, so out there in the chat, if y'all got any suggestions on how Kyle can get his car unlocked,
let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah, wherever you're watching, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, we see your chats here in our Discord server. And I'd love to hear from you. Soul, hello from South America, he says. Oh, wow. Hello down there.
And if you think you're the person that can start it, like Steve said, just come over and I'll give you the keys. But one thing I did want, that reminds me, I haven't seen my mom for a while. So last Saturday I asked her.
They live in town?
Yeah, she lives right up the street from me. I asked her if she wanted to go to get lunch. And since I've been back, I haven't been to the Pampered Palate.
Oh,
and my mom said, is Pampered Palate still open? And I said, yeah. Man, I went to Pampered Palate. It's a great place. I haven't been in there for 5 years. I've been back here.
I was going to ask if it was still open, too. That place has been there the whole time.
Yeah.
Forever.
It was here when I was in high school. So.
They've always been good quality, too.
Yeah, it's an amazing success story in downtown Stanton.
Yeah. Others have come and gone, but they've
many others.
Very consistent service and quality.
It's a good feeling in that place.
Yep.
I feel like you're in another country or something.
I don't know how long it's been there, but they have a beautiful painting of downtown Stanton around the downstairs wall. It's really cool.
Right on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Pampered Palate.
And they just kind of keep it simple and kind of honest to themselves. That menu hasn't. I don't think it's changed except for some soups here and there. In the 10 years that I've been going.
The sandwiches mostly, right?
Yep, and soups. They always have some soups.
Yeah, it was so good.
We have to say goodbye to a place that
even though I never go out to eat or whatever, even I was aware that Sweet Addie's was really good. Saul and Christiana brought us a couple of they would go, and a couple of times they got us some of the waffles and
Oh, that's a shame they didn't make it.
Well, no,
well, I think he for family reasons has to
Yeah.
relocate. So they were actually really successful.
Well, that's a shame.
So it's not a it
yeah, I'd
wasn't-
heard a lot of good things about it.
not nuggets. What are the boneless chicken fingers? Like next level.
from there.
Wow.
I've been down there.
Really
It was
special.
always like a line waiting to get in there, so I never wanted to wait in line to go eat. But
Yeah, they were doing good. He's a good man. I feel like we're losing a gem there.
I think Saul said try some chicken and waffles
Yeah, that
in
that
your car
was the.
for the thing. That's
Oh, right.
what he's talking about, right?
I think that's what he's talking about.
But when I went to Pampered Pal, my mom tricked me because whenever I'm around her, I'm drinking a beer or something. So we went out. And I was like, as soon as I sat down, I was like, man, what can I get to drink? What kind of beer do they have here? And it said, see the menu. And it was on another table. So I thought, I'll just get some iced tea. I'll just be normal. So my mom orders, I'll have a mimosa. I'm like, damn it! No, after I've already had this iced tea. She's
Oh, you already ordered your iced tea? Do over. Abort. Oh, we got spammed.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Yeah, that's Twitch. Every now and again, they I don't know how that works, but thanks anyways. Laugh belay. We're good. We like just having the one viewer. That was our goal, and now we're satisfied. They want to help us get more viewers. It's the last thing we want. It's the last thing we need.
Do I know them people?
The people that watch us.
No, the people
Oh
that
no,
are,
the spammers.
yeah. We'll
Now-
tell them to get off.
Right, right. If you don't know Dad,
That's not right.
Yeah. Hold on.
Now, since the Maid is right down there, what's the tea and bookstores coming in beside Pampered Pal? Have you heard about that?
it's tea and bookstore.
Yeah, that's heard. Somebody told me that's gonna be there.
You know what I heard? I thought you were asking for the tea on the bookstore. And I was
Spill
like,
it,
oh,
what
we're
you
doing.
got?
And I was like,
Spill it,
oh,
what
we're
you
doing
got?
that.
Yeah, you got to have some inside info on that.
No, it's a new place. That's, I think, what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've
about
seen it on Facebook.
Oh, you did?
They have an ad. It's a new store downtown that
Hmm.
is a bookstore, and they serve tea.
Oh, what's it called? Do you remember?
No,
Do you know when it opens?
it's right down in the main. It's one right next to
Pampered Pal. I
Pampered
think.
Palette on the corner.
Yeah.
There's a store I want to go into that we passed walking Percy the other day. That is, I mean, I guess it's a bookstore, but it seems like it's just a celebration of words in general. Like whether it's art with words on it, but it's like.
Oh, is it down towards the old theater?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's a few books, but it's mostly like signs you'd hang on your kitchen, like
What's it
live,
called?
laugh, and love, and those
Right,
type of
right.
things.
Do you remember what it's called?
No, I tried to go in there 2 weeks ago and had a dog water bowl sitting out. And I stepped in it and flipped the water up everywhere. So I thought I better just keep on moving, and I just kept on walking down the street.
I bet they lose a lot of business that way.
But it was funny because people were coming towards me, and I had
Most people just have a little bell on the door, so when people come in. That's some next level.
so people were coming towards me, and I think it was like it must have been some Shakespeare thing. It was like maybe like 30 people coming towards me. So I tried to get over out of the way, and I stepped on that bowl and it flipped up.
You're a one man, Three Stooges. Douglas, welcome to the show. Howdy. Hey, Magpie, happy birthday. So I'm pretty. Speaking of books, I'm I'm pretty excited. I don't have it
Who
yet.
who did that?
What's that?
Who did that?
Who did what?
Oh, speak of books.
He did.
You just made that up.
No, I think he was talking about a new bookstore downtown.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was talking about a bookstore, but that's not a book.
It's
It's a
not.
store.
Right, it's true.
But you're just making stuff up. It's where you want to go, and I'm interrupting you going there. And
Well, that's fine.
That's wrong too. So I'm gonna shut
You
up.
can give
now.
yourself shit for that.
All right, I'm correcting myself. I'm sorry.
How big a boy are you? You're already down here. But
It'll only take me 30 minutes to get down there. I was just wondering if have you had an ass whooping today?
it's been a long time since I've
Yeah.
had a proper ass whooping, that's for sure.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I just started flashing on the last time I got an ass whooping. It was high school.
Ever since then,
That's too long.
ever since then, it's been a bidet, right?
That's right. But I'm pretty excited. I don't have it yet. This is just the case for it. But as of Saturday, I will be a proud Kindle owner.
A what?
I ordered a Kindle. Have you ever looked into this? I've been thinking
No.
about you for one of these, wondering if you would love it or not. But it's
don't know.
this is going to be the case for it.
Why do you have the case?
And
not,
it's
yeah.
well, I ordered them both at the same time, and the case came first. So I got my case for it,
Looks like you have the world's thinnest Bible there.
right?
Yeah,
It-
it looks like leather, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that nice? It's going to be really nice. But a Kindle is a book reader, and so I could have thousands of books right on this device that's going to be going right in here. I'll next tune in next week. I'll give you my my feedback, my review of the Amazon Kindle. But I'm very going to be curious for you to see what.
I think I
Just
would
feel
like.
the size of it, and the font can be as big as you want. You can have thousands of books on it, and
I would like that.
I think it's
I
going
think
to be.
I think I'm ready for that.
I think I'm going to prefer it to books. Just even the unwieldy nature, reading in bed beside Kether or whatever with the little book light. It's a lot going on there, and especially when I tried the Count of Monte Cristo, I was like, it was just the weight of the book like this. I just couldn't do it. It was too much. So I got this case today, and I didn't imagine it was going to be this small, but I got really excited when I saw that it was.
Now, have you purchased any books yet?
Not yet. But the whole reason, I was watching a documentary on the Velvet Underground the other night, and they started talking about this author. And I was like, this guy sounds intriguing. So I went right to Amazon, went to buy a book of his collected works. I forget the name of the Delmore or something.
Delmore Schwartz.
Ah, you know. All right, I'll ask you about that next. But I went to buy the book, and then it said Kindle version. And I was like, Kindle version. Is it time? Do I want this? And so I spent the next half hour watching YouTubes on the Kindle, the different kinds of Kindles.
Wow.
A part of me almost bought the one called a Scribe that has a little pencil that comes with it, and you can take notes in it. It could be your journal and all your books
wow.
all on a thing like this.
Wow.
And apparently the pencil works really good, and they even simulate the sound of pencil on paper, so you have that oral feedback or
Right.
whatever that really makes it feel legit. So I don't know. I'm gonna get the Kindle. If I love it, if you love it, maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll get the Scribe, and I don't know. There's possibilities.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely ready for it.
It's a new paradigm.
My eyes are going.
Yeah, I think you'll love it because you can just make the font as big as you want to
Yeah.
see it, and instead of having a stack of books out
No,
there on
it's,
your porch.
It is a reading thing, though. It's not an oral.
Right. You can actually put audiobooks on it.
Oh,
but
you can?
it does
It
both.
won't read to you. It won't
I don't
read
know if
back.
it'll read the text to you. I haven't seen that. I've watched probably 10 videos on it, and no one said that. So, but so another cool thing it can do is like any word that you hold your finger on, a dictionary will pop up, or in a Wikipedia thing to give you everything about that word. You
I like that.
can hold a phrase and take a note, and then look at all your notes later or whatever. So
Wow.
it's sort of like highlighting in the margins.
It's great for like book clubbing and stuff, you know.
I'm very
Or
excited.
for people reading with more of a pace.
You won't even need us anymore in a couple of weeks. You'll just be here talking about the books you're reading. Got rid of those two losers. Now we're Nathan's book club.
What would be, if I was to ask you, like, what are the first 5 books I should put on my Kindle? What does anything come to mind immediately? I just said 5 because 1 is too much pressure on that book. Like, what's you don't want to think about in terms of the book you have to read, but maybe.
I don't know. If people have been asked, people ask me my favorite novel right now, I say it's one called Mink River by Brian Doyle, and it's just something I happened to.
He's Irish? Is he Irish? Or?
He's from Washington and Oregon. He's just that culture up there.
A little something about
Tom
that.
Robbins culture, yeah.
Oh, is Tom Robbins a Northwesterner?
I think so. I would say that. But they're similar writers in that they're way out there and write beautiful thoughts in the middle of their stories. They're fun to read. So that would be one I'd
Brian Doyle.
Yeah, I think that's his name. I keep forgetting it, but I think that's right.
What's the title of the book again?
Mink River.
All right.
And if you read that one, he has got what's the other one he wrote? Well, he's written a couple, but there's 2 that I've read that are like blow. It's just like it's just so.
There's one that's the name
beautiful.
of a ship. I can't think of the name of the boat.
Does that ring a bell to you?
That's the one
It's like
I ended up giving that to Steve
it's a
Tell.
bird's name or something. Not the one about the boat, but the one.
There's another one. There's one called Chicago, just about him living in Chicago when he was younger. I could just read anything he writes.
I love that.
I like just hearing him talk.
Kethra chiming in to say that Mink River is the book club's book.
Oh,
Book club's
wonderful.
book. Right
oh
now.
wow. That's the next book you're reading? John Dotson says Catcher in the Rye is a must-read in my book.
There you go.
I definitely read that in high school, but I could probably do it again. Clutch says get the Libby app. Lets you take out books from your local library system on
yeah.
a Kindle or your iPhone or Android.
Yeah, how
That's
about
fun.
Excellent.
That's cool. Libby.
I was taking the recycling out this weekend, and for some reason, I started wondering, and I can't remember if I've ever read The Three Musketeers. Have you ever read that? Have you ever read The Three Musketeers?
I think so.
That's what I thought. I think so, but I couldn't really remember.
Who's the author of that?
Dumas. But I can't. I gotta have no. I know, of course, who The Three Musketeers are, but I can't remember. You know the book,
Well, and you
the
get-
movies and stuff.
Yeah, I
like
saw the movies too, so I don't know.
Yeah,
read-
I've definitely seen all the movies. And eaten the candy bar.
Catcher in the Rye is a good one.
Not a huge fan of the candy bar, I gotta say.
What can? Oh, I was wondering what you were talking about for there for a second. So I like your suggestion. Catcher in the Rye is a good one.
Two more things I can say about the Kindle that will be in this after Saturday is one is it's waterproof, which I think is fun. Sitting down by the river, take it camping, and the battery lasts like 2 months.
Wow.
It's better than your car.
I'm pretty excited about it. So what can you tell me about this Delmore guy?
Delmore Schwartz, he was a teacher at Syracuse. He was one of Lou Reed's teachers.
Oh, right.
And like what do you call people like him? Disturbed, unhappy, I can't think of the term, poet, but just we had a lot of issues and
Apparently, from what I learned reading about him after watching that documentary and getting intrigued by him was that he is that familiar arc of that he at the beginning he was lauded as a genius,
Right.
like the hot new guy, and like, oh my
Right.
goodness, T.S. Eliot, Ezra Pound, they were all commenting, we got a
Right.
new one, and then like in his 30s or something, he like really gave himself to writing what he thought was going to be his opus, his masterpiece, and didn't wasn't received well, and then spent the rest of his life in this sad state
Yeah.
of
What do you call? I can't think of what the term for that is. Tortured, like a tortured soul trying to reach his potential and burning up inside that he was aware that he wasn't going to do that, sort of.
right.
But I think he was one of Lou Reed's teachers and really encouraged Lou Reed to, with his writing and stuff. And I think Lou Reed, like how we've talked, all the people you admire are the sort of damaged, fighting to stay above water type people. I think that really attracted Lou Reed to him too.
Yeah, I guess by the time Lou Reed was exposed to him, he was in that
Yeah, he was
sadder half
he
of
had
his life.
accepted a college teaching degree position and stuff. Man, a lot of those writers you read about though, just man, you think to be a writer, that must be one of the most. To be a writer that can't get into the groove you're looking for must be one of the most torturous things ever.
There's so many versions of that.
Yeah, like,
The one-hit wonders in the songwriting world. I think about that. Someone that writes this great song when they're young and then spends the rest of their life trying to do it again and just can't.
Right.
And it's like just such a mystifying conundrum. I maybe escape that fate. I don't know how.
Well, I think you're one of the more prolific writers I've ever seen. I mean, consistently.
I'm slowing down though,
Well, I hope so.
but I'm not like tortured about it.
Right.
A little bit. I'm like, oh, have I lost it? Can I had a moment where a song started coming to me last night, and the verse made me laugh out loud. That came to me, and I was like, oh, what were you worried about? And I just stopped writing. Right, I didn't even finish the song. I was just psyched that I could still do it. It's like it's like a professional golfer getting out there and just like really hitting it off the tee at the beginning and then doesn't finish the round. He just checking in with his swing to see if he still had it or whatever. I feel like I suffer more now from when I was younger. I was writing for a reason, and like being on the road and in a band there's an immediate it was like I don't know. It's almost like when you're in the woods living off the land, you have to kill things to
Right,
eat them
right.
because you're going to starve if you don't. That's how I wrote. I was like foraging off the land for survival. Now I'm sitting here with a fully stocked pantry, and like I might kill an animal in the backyard, but I'm not going to go through all the hassle of cleaning it and, and harvesting it. And all
well,
that.
that's funny because somebody was asking me that. They said, "Why are you going home after work?" I said, "I have to write the thing for the start of the show." They go, "Why don't you do it in advance?" And I was like, I never thought about that, but I think it's just that timeline. It's like if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. Like if Tuesday or Wednesday, I just sit there and think about it for an hour. But when it comes down, we got to be there.
What is your process for that? Do you think about it?
I usually just
beforehand?
just sometime during the week, I'll just come up with like some idea will hit me, and I don't really think about it, but I try to remember that idea. Like this one didn't turn out the way I planned it. I was gonna put it that we were all on an MTV reality show, living in a big fancy house together.
We could pull that off.
But then when I started, I was like, no, I think it'd be better if we were all in the Merchant Marines.
What is a merchant marine?
That's what everybody used to join, like Kerouac and all those guys used to always join, because you could get overseas, so you could join up with the Merchant Marine and you go over there. And I
What
think
is it?
you're not the military.
Wait, do
but,
you know?
I think people used to do it all the time when ships were like, if say you wanted to go to Europe, you could work your way over like on a Merchant Marine ship. Like you'd have to, it might go down the coast and through South America, then end up, in England or something. So
So
you had
it's
to
not
basically work.
the Marine thing is just the maritime reference.
Right,
It's not a
right,
military
right,
reference.
right.
You're not like a mercenary.
But I think like Kerouac and then when everyone they wanted to go travel or something, they would just get your Merchant Marine papers and just go to the down to the harbor and get on a ship and take off. I think for a lot of free souls, it was a way to get around and see the world and make a little bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
Chase women in foreign countries.
When I left home for the world, left Virginia, dropped out of school and left Virginia, I actually joined the domestic branch of the Peace Corps to fund my move to Austin, Texas. It's called VISTA, Volunteer in Service to America.
Wow.
Must be like a sort of similar.
I thought you were going to say it was
thing.
called the Salvation Army.
It's similar.
Wow. So what did you have to do?
I worked at a place it was like a big building, and the whole idea was they had a daycare center and like Alzheimer's patients and like elderly people suffering from dementia, and the idea was basically to bring the old people and the little kids together in the same space.
Wow.
Just to have them both in the same building, they could interact with each other and have positive benefits on each other. The old people could teach the kids stuff, and the kids could bring surprising, spontaneous life. So it was like trying to integrate the two care systems under one roof.
Now wait a minute. So you did that for money, or you did that like traveling? You could volunteer.
No, they like paid for me to move to Austin, Texas, because I just wanted to go to Austin.
And so how much?
And then I found out about Vista, and so I had to like sign up for a year or two.
Oh, okay.
And work, and I got paid for the job, but I just had to work at that facility
that's cool.
for a certain amount of time. And so I knew what my job was going to be, and they paid for me to fly out there and everything. And I loved that job. It was fun working with those.
Did you see that working?
A little bit.
It's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. That's how I met James McMurtry. His son was in the kids program.
Really?
So I got to be friends with the McMurtrys.
Did you
And
adopt
I
him?
really enjoyed working with the Alzheimer folks. There was this one lady that I'll never forget, Tony with an I, and she was telling me stories about the first when their town got the first car. Just the perspective it put me on. There's so many things I learned from that lady. And she would not know where she was or who we were, and she would get afraid, like I just got left here, like had no idea what was going on. But you get her talking about her youth or whatever, and she just became crystal clear and started telling you stories about the riding the horse, loading up the wagon, the horses going to town. It all really blew my mind. And it was one thing I remember. One of my takeaways from that whole experience was for the family and everything, it was all really scary to see their mom or whatever.
Now, did she live there? Or they just came there during the day, like
Just
to
during
watch
the
it?
day, yeah. It was like daycare for for both, but I don't know. Like for me, like I didn't know her otherwise, so she just was what she was as a person. Like, and she was such a delight to me, even though she was scared. Like the way her mind worked was really fascinating to me. I didn't, because she wasn't my mom, I didn't know her otherwise. It wasn't sad. It was just she was so full of life, and her like paranoia, I could relate so much. Like she was my favorite person to hang out with of all the people, and the way that she didn't know who the hell any of these people were and was traumatized. But I felt the same way. I didn't know who we were. Right? I know, right? Who are these people? This place is weird. But she wouldn't remember me from one day to the next, but we always got along. It was a fascinating time.
Yeah, during that time, I've been doing some research about music therapy. Did you play music for him?
I definitely played music for him.
And did it have a good effect when you?
Yeah.
I mean, how did you?
I guess nothing that I can recall that I could talk on about, but
Like with her, did you ever play her any songs?
I feel like I definitely did, but I'm not having crystal memories about that.
Yeah. I think there's a whole lot we can do with music and people at my age as we get older and dementia and Alzheimer's and it seems like the last thing to go is your musical memory and people will come to life and show a vibrancy that they didn't have until you started hitting a couple notes and then they wake up.
It's a remarkable transformation. There's so many videos you can see on YouTube and stuff about that. It's like a miracle. It's like oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Awakenings.
That reminds me. I think the books that y'all give me are you're trying to drive me over the edge in some way. That Einstein's dreams, which
Is it still
haunts
messing
me.
with you?
And so he gave me that book of that sax, the guy that wrote about the music thing. What was that guy?
Musicphilia or Philia?
Yeah, the guy that wrote that. And it's all about people that hear music in their head and they can't get rid of it. And I can only read like about 5 pages and like, I'm going to get that. I can't, put this book down. I know it's going to start happening to me.
Oh my goodness. What happens?
These people like go crazy because they just hear music in their brain all the time. There's no way they can stop it. And they'll just hear songs like when they were a
Like
kid.
it's
or
actual
something.
songs?
Yeah, they'll like when it first happens, they'll like bang on the neighbor's door, turn that music down. They're like, we're not playing any music. They look out the window, but it's just 24 hours a day in their head. And every time I read like a whole
Wow,
pages,
they'll sleep and they'll wake up and it's
when they
still
wake
going?
up, a lot of them say they have like maybe 15 seconds of silence and it kicks in again. And I'm like, why did he give me this book? Because I'm petrified. I get that. And there's all these drugs they give you to try to deaden it and stuff. And it seems like people that know, like you could probably do this. Like you can sort of turn it into you can turn it into a song you'd rather hear, or like you can slow the music down or something. But some of these people just hear, and it's always like God Bless America. It's like songs you wouldn't want to hear 24 hours a day.
Man,
it's
what
not
a
like a
nightmare.
Beatles song or anything, It's like, but it's like, no, I can't take it anymore. And
Is there a difference between, we've all experienced having a song stuck in our heads.
Every day almost.
Yeah.
yeah. But these people,
Is it like
these
that?
people can say they can hear.
Is it related to that phenomenon?
They said it has something to do with a lot of them. They start to lose your hearing, and they think it's when you're not getting the stimulus from the outside, your brain starts stimulating itself, sort of like playing songs that you remembered. But I was like, man,
Well, that's scary.
It is scary.
every time I read it, I put it down. Like, don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think about it.
God bless America.
Y'all better stop singing that song.
But some of them, the one guy is he was like a violinist or something, and he says even when he's performing, he can hear the other music. He just can't get rid of it. So he's he's like in an orchestra playing the music, hearing this other stuff in his head the whole time.
Wow.
Like,
Oh man, that is
terrifying.
scary. That's terrifying.
And each story is only like maybe 3 or 4 pages long. I keep looking. I've only got 300 more pages to go. Like, I gotta go as fast as I can.
Wow.
But can you imagine just waking up one day and you're just like, like, damn, Catherine, turn the music down. Why are you listening to God Bless America over and over and over? Like, I don't have any music on.
That is so strange that you actually think it's coming from outside the house or something. It's very weird.
One little boy was thinking, the youngest one was like 4 years. And they said they think more people have it, but they don't say anything because it sounds crazy. If you go tell somebody, I hear God Bless America now on the top of my head. Like I'm sure like most parents would be like, no, just stop thinking about it, it'll go away. But one little boy's been hearing these songs since he was 4 years old, and he was like 40 something when the thing was written. He just music in his head nonstop all the time.
Is it always the same song?
No, but usually they say one person said they heard 7 different songs, and I haven't read. I've maybe read the first 100 pages, but a lot of them is just the repeat of the same. There's a lot of them were when they were kids, like songs that are sort of like in your. They're just in your system, you know, because you've heard them so many times when you were like growing up or something. A lot of them here like holiday songs, you know.
Oh, Christmas music
I know.
year round. Oh, it's a nightmare. Do you remember this part of that book? Was that from Musicophilia or music?
I think
Musicophilia.
it's one of his books. I'm not sure. I can't remember the title of it. It should
He
be called
He
Heart.
covers about everything in there.
Yeah.
So, what kind of doctor would you go to for that? Would that be that's not a psychiatrist?
Well, it could be. But
Well, that's the thing. They say a lot of them go to psychiatrists first. They think your first reaction is, I'm going crazy. Something's wrong with me. But then they determine, like, no, that's actually, it is in your head. You know, it's not just you imagining it. It is, you're actually hearing it. But to not be able to get a song out of your head, like what? And they have to go do work and stuff like everybody else does. You know, they can't just sit at home like, oh man.
No, man.
And some of them say that even when they're having conversations and stuff, it's hard to hear what people are talking about because they just hear these songs in their head. Oh my God.
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, I don't like that.
Anybody else hear that Jaws theme song? I've had the Jaws theme song stuck in my head for the last 12 years, and that might explain a lot about my personality.
What a great! How long is that? How many chords is that? Like, that's one of the scariest things ever. That's like what? Just
It's 2 notes.
and that's one of the most. That just sticks to everybody's brain. I mean, if you hear that, first thing you think of is water and sharks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Red water.
And then red water. So what if I was to tell you guys that since the late 1800s, once a year, some of the most powerful men in the world, rich, powerful men in the world, meet in the California redwoods for 2 weeks that starts with a ritual that's like that is a simulation of burning, of cremating a human being.
Is this Vista again you're talking about?
No,
Okay, go ahead.
nope. This is called Bohemian Grove.
And what do they
Is there
burn?
an owl statue involved?
There's a giant
I've heard
40-foot
about it.
owl statue
Yep.
in the redwoods. And since the 1800s, once a year, the most powerful men in the world will meet here. And it all starts off with a ceremony called the cremation of care, where they simulate the burning of a human body to kick off the
Now, what do you mean
the
by
retreat.
powerful? Like politicians or rich people or?
All the above. Curators of museums, presidents. There's a picture.
Intellectuals? I mean, does it have to do with smart people or just greedy, powerful people? Or they're actually trying to learn something?
It's a lot like the Freemasons or something.
Okay, so
but
they have a
intellect
purpose.
is part
Okay,
of the.
okay.
It was started in 1872 with journalists from San Francisco, but then over the years got more and more powerful people. And I imagine journalists are no longer even allowed to get anywhere close to this thing.
Come on, Don Lemon, you're welcome.
The only footage that's ever come out of Bohemian Grove from the retreat was Alex Jones in 2000 snuck in there and got like secret video camera footage. I was like, oh, Alex, back in the good old days. But
Now, are they trying to come up with a plan for something, or is there like?
what do y'all think about that? Just initially, I didn't set it up right because I wanted to say like, would you believe me? I wanted to present it like it might not be true.
Would you go? If I had 3 tickets, would you go with me? I think it's scary.
You think it's scary?
Well, because I don't really know if they're there to solve like world hunger or something. I don't think it's scary, but I don't really know what they're there for.
Right.
The burning of something sounds a little bit. But that a burning of something could be a um, pulling together. I mean, that doesn't necessarily be. I don't know why I imagine burning something to be scary, but.
Well, it is like made to look like a human, like it's the burning of a human, like a human sacrifice.
I thought you said it was an owl.
No, no, it happens at the base of a giant 40-foot stone owl. I bet you can find
Is
a
it Al
picture of the
Roker?
owl. I should have brought that up beforehand.
It's not Weird Al, is it?
It's a Weird Al Roker.
All right, so they burn a fake person. But do they ever talk about
Bohemian
it?
Grove.
Is that something they admit they go to, or nobody admits to?
No, it's everybody that's a part of it is completely sworn to secrecy. So anything that we know about it is from leaked
Which
stuff.
explains why I haven't said anything. And I will not comment on any of that, except that some of them assholes, I don't know how they got invited.
Right.
Some of them just aren't that nice of people. And of course, they got a lot of money. And I don't think that should be the whole criteria, but it seems to be very important.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, it's it's $25,000 just as a 15-year waiting list. $25,000 to become a member, but you still have to be invited. You have to be invited. It's a lot like the Freemasons, but you have to be sponsored by someone that's already a member, and then you have to pay an exorbitant amount of money. Oh, look at that! There it is.
Now, is there any
Hey, can you hand the iPad over here? I'll show Dad.
is there any documentation of them getting together to do something good, or like?
Apparently, the Manhattan Project was formed there. It was was
wow.
originally conceived there. Whoops. Which led to the creation of the nuclear bomb. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's one of the more famous things that was originally. But that's the owl that's always there, and if you try to go to the club owns all 1,000 acres of this land in the redwoods.
Now, how'd you find out about it?
Well, I'm a conspiracy theorist, or I've studied all conspiracy theories, and this is the kind of thing that is perfect for conspiracy theorists. I mean, how do you not get conspiratorial in your mind just thinking about it?
You should swat them one time and see what happens.
But even year round, like it's highly surveilled. You can't get anywhere close to that owl.
Now,
like
do
an
you
owl.
know?
Doesn't look like an owl to you?
No, do they meet the same time every year, or is it you don't know when it's going to be?
Not exactly sure when it is, but it's 2 weeks every year. Saw a picture that was taken there of in 67, I want to say, but it might have been in the 70s. But there's one guy speaking at a table, and to his right is Ronald Reagan, and to his left is Richard Nixon.
Not surprised you haven't listened to that Cat Williams thing yet. Because it's basically the same thing about how Hollywood is.
This is a lot of like, it's so fascinating now because a lot of like the right-wing conspiracy theorists, this is something they talk about all the time, Bohemian Grove, and they cast it as it's where the elites engage in like human sacrifice, like they take that initial ceremony and extrapolate. No, they're actually killing kids, where they're draining their blood to try to live forever. The elites, and like the Bohemian Grove completely plays into their. So what picture is this?
Well, that's one of their gatherings.
It's back in the OG though, right?
God, there's your dad right there.
Is that Granddad? But the thing that I think is really fascinating is that as much as the right-wingers are now like using Bohemian Grove as an example of the elites gathering in secret and doing these satanic rituals and all this kind of stuff, it seems like from all I've read about it so far is that it's more famous Republicans than anything else. Like it's although I think at that level It's the puppet that's holding up the right wing puppet and the left wing puppet. It's the puppet in the middle that's going to this thing. It's not like
Now, did you say it's people from all over the world, or it's just Americans? Or
I think it's very American centric, but they probably had. I think they've definitely had like kings,
How they've
kings and
evolved in their racial identity and their female male.
They have actually went to court a couple of times to keep women from getting in there because part of I think they actually argued in court that there's no one of the famous things is that they drink extremely heavily and pee freely. Like it's one of the things they said in their court case when they were being sued to try to get women in. It's like, well, we pee all over the place, and I don't think that would be appropriate. That was actually like I was like, why is this guy on this documentary I'm watching keep talking about him peeing so much? And I'm like, oh, when they went to court, like that was actually one of their main arguments.
so women can't pee enough, or what's the problem?
Or the men wouldn't feel free to urinate openly, peeing on the redwoods all over the place.
Oh my God, I'm getting the old shot penis with these women here. I can't.
But this is like apparently like each there's mini camps within the thing, and some of them are famous. Like there's the hillbilly camp. They have clever names, and I mean, you're talking about the upper echelon elites. Like they each camp has its own chefs, its own they're not roughing it. They're definitely out there feasting, and apparently they're all served. It's like a lot of drinking. I don't know if this is probably changing over time, or probably not yet, but you get there's a drink you start off with as soon as you wake up, and it's a whole thing.
This sounds like what? I can't think of the guy's name now. Thomas. What's that writer's name?
So neither of y'all have heard of this before?
We don't dwell on the dark web like you do.
But this is isn't that interesting how that's
Well,
how you think of it? Like once a year since 1872, the most powerful people on the planet meet in the redwood forest of California, start off with a Druid-inspired cremation ceremony, and then discuss world politics and stuff for 2 weeks. And that's like to know about that or think about that or talk about that is like a dark web.
Well, just the concept of it sounds bad, but maybe they're not. Maybe they just get that brotherhood stuff out of the way and then move
This is
on.
from one of those meetings.
Who's that?
I'm not showing it, but I thought I'd get a laugh out of you.
Wouldn't be surprised. Is it actually? No.
Do bands play there?
But
What's it? Thomas Pitt? What's it? What is Phycon? What's that guy? What's that author's name? That writes those sort of conspiracy books. Like where,
I think I know who you're
where they
talking
had
about.
like the private mail carriers, and people would send mail over the United States, but it was done through like these private carriers underground, so they could deliver mail and stuff. Those books are creepy too.
Now I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's one of his books. Was like mail was delivered, but not by any FedEx or the mail people or anything. It was like you could deliver mail through these underground systems. God, what's his name? Pynchon or
Does anybody know what he's talking about?
Not me.
Thomas? What is his name? But his books all have like some kind of how much stuff goes on in the world that we don't know about. If we did know about, it would freak us out. Thomas Pynchon.
I watched a thing Magpie from the History Channel last night, and they were definitely at this place where it exists, and I can't remember the name of the town. Probably a quick Google could get us there. Steve Conroy in the chat is saying Thomas Pynchon.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, Yeah.
So what's Kyle talking about, Steve?
Has Steve read any of his books? I mean, his books are wonderfully written, but always it's almost like he knows something that he shouldn't be telling you. I think they're probably mostly fiction, but he writes in a very way that makes it sound like it sort of could be real.
Right. Sort of like the Da Vinci Code kind of stuff. You hide little nuggets of truth in there mixed with all the other stuff. Hey, Heather, good to see you. Steve says, yeah, that's some deep stuff. But could someone Google what town is it in? Because I definitely know that those are my old stomping grounds there in Northern California along the Redwoods. I must have come very close to Bohemian Grove. Magpie says, I've heard of Bohemian Grove, but where do you get confirmation of this stuff?
It sounds like an Eagles song or something.
Bohemian Grove?
Go down to Bohemian Grove.
It's you want the name of the town then?
Mm-hmm. Monte Rio, California.
Does that ring a bell?
Maybe.
Sonoma,
But it looks like one of those little tiny, it's just a little tiny town, but everybody in there, they know about it, but they won't, they're all hush hush too. It's like there's one lady was interviewed who's a local there in the town and has been an activist against it for years. Hey, Libby.
The people that talk about it are probably like that lady Tony you were with. They zap her brain somehow and send her down to Austin.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. And definitely a very happy belated birthday to Magpie. March is a big birthday month.
Yeah. I saw everybody wishing Magpie happy birthday.
Northeast of Bodega Bay.
I'm sorry.
Any help up there, Dad?
I'm sorry I didn't wish you a happy birthday, Magpie. I didn't think you'd want somebody you didn't know wishing you a happy birthday.
Kyle, you got the show.
He's
It's on you, buddy.
he's going upstairs to call the rest of the members of the Bohemia Grove. Said they're down there talking about it.
They're on to it.
Send somebody over here quick.
You're asking too many questions. You saw me walk out of the room, right? I had nothing to do with it.
I'm going out the back door. Have a cab pick me up and get me out of here.
Saw me go out of the room.
Kill his mic. I feel like it's the Bohemian Grove is such a good one. It's very interesting to me that y'all didn't even know it existed.
I
Now-
think there's had something to do maybe with like weird stuff also going on there with like pedophilia rings and stuff like that. Like it was.
Well, that's and maybe I should wait till Dad gets back down here. You're on Kyle there. I want the camera on. Now I feel like I have to say something really good. Get ready. But right?
But
No, it's just like because that's what happens is the conspiracy theorists can now just run with this. Like, yeah, why? How do we know that they're not killing kids and taking their blood to try to live forever? Because everybody that's ever gone there is sworn to secrecy.
But how do you keep something secret nowadays?
When you're
Like some teenage kid with a drone could fly over and like, there they are.
that thing would be popped out of the sky in a second. You're talking about the most powerful people in the world. If they want to get together and keep it a secret.
So
if you want to get asked back, the last thing you're going to do after you've paid, Alex Jones would.
It's been in high school since I got an ass whooping this bad. But if people that show up and they all have security, you would think people from hundreds of miles around would wonder like what's going on there. Mm-hmm.
Especially since it's been going on since 1872, every year like clockwork.
And back then I don't see it. I don't know why. But back then I see it more because it was so much harder to meet back then. It makes more sense for 2 weeks we'll all come get together. So that makes sense. So but nowadays it seems like it's like you can Zoom talk to each other and stuff. So, but I can also see it as a way to get together and knock ideas around and just I don't want bad ideas knocked around.
Apparently, like when it's not just like because the motto of the Bohemian Club, and the club apparently has a main place in San Francisco, like a building year round or whatever, and the Bohemian Grove is their retreat that they do every year. But their motto is, it's from Shakespeare, and I'll probably get the quote wrong, but their motto is spinning spiders don't come here, or something like that. Like
Oh my gosh.
like, do you know this quote?
No, it reminds me so much of a quote I was telling your dad on the way over here.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Percy. But that motto is supposed to mean like, don't come here to network. We don't want anybody being approached by someone that wants something.
Okay.
So I'm sure they get to drinking and talking, and then like I say, the Manhattan Project infamously, apparently, the beginning formation of that idea happened there. But they try to make it explicit to not do business there. We're not going there to do business. This is a time for the most powerful people in the world to burn their cares in the opening cremation of care ceremony, leave all their worries behind, and just inspire each other. Right. And so there's theatrical performances.
So it's like a camp.
It's a camp for the most powerful people in the world. It really is like a summer camp. And a little bit of Burning Man vibes. We start off with the Burning Man.
Now,
go backwards.
what's the quote again?
Oh, it's a good question.
Because on the way,
weaving spiders come not here.
Weaving spiders come not here. Because we don't want anybody coming.
Because on the way over here, I was telling him about a greeting card I saw, and it said, "It's the quiet bats that get you." And I opened it up. I was like, "Happy birthday!" or something. I was like, "What the?"
Whoa,
it sounds like it sounds like what you just said.
Was that sent to you by one of the most powerful people in the world? But I'm trying to remember where we were. The weaving spiders.
So you're not supposed to be there with an agenda to accomplish anything.
And definitely if you go there, you wouldn't be surprised to see like Taylor Swift playing by the campfire. Like they bring in like the most famous artists and stuff and there's planned talks. Like people will give a talk to like talk about AI or some new technology or something in world politics or yada yada yada. So people do give presentations and stuff, but it's not supposed to be a networking event. And from all reports, like it just is what it is, and it's not nefarious by nature. They might talk. There might be conversations that have real world impacts, and some of those might be bad. But it's not like But it's so easy to depict it as this nefarious thing, especially with the secrecy, the power of the players involved, and the druidic sacrificing ritual aspects of some of the ceremonies that they do there. It's completely ripe for any conspiracy theorist. And I think one of the reasons it's on my mind now is that on Twitter there's this kickboxer or something that just came out on TikTok saying that he went to Bohemian Grove and that he saw child sacrifices happen. So he's like this famous kickboxer. He's coming out with what seems to me to be obvious BS, but it's being picked up by all these people on Twitter and stuff, and they're running with it, and it's already in like the right-wing conspiracy theorists that the elites are draining kids' blood to live forever. And so the Bohemian Grove just sort of like is a perfect catalyst for propagating these stories. And because of its secret nature and that the rare imagery or footage that comes out of there is like, whoa, these guys are beneath a 40-foot stone owl burning bodies or whatever. It's like, what the heck is going on there?
Man, you've got to watch that Cat Williams thing. You would be fascinated by that.
So I watched an interview with him after that, hoping that they would talk about it, but I don't. So what?
It's just about how like Oprah and well, now I can't. Medea, what's that guy's name? Oh gosh, how they're just all controlled by. And he said, anybody that's controlled by anything, that's the one thing you do. You don't talk about it because they're like, how come nobody knows about it? And he said, because anybody that's controlled by anything, you don't go out and say that you're controlled by somebody.
Mm-hmm. You know what they called this that you're talking about? And it's all tied together. It's all, you connect the dots, do your own research. It's all connected. You know what they called that 20 years ago? The Illuminati.
Oh,
That's what Kat's talking about.
Yeah.
Either it's the Illuminati or the next incarnation of that idea.
Now, were you ever into the subgenius and all that stuff when you were younger?
I feel like I've heard of that.
Oh, what's that guy with the pipe? Oh, I haven't got into it for so long. How, like, some superpowers. What was that guy's name? Bob, the subgenius.
Oh, that's that picture. So that was taken at Bohemian Grove. You know the year of that? 69? 67.
See, that doesn't
That's Ronald Reagan. That's Richard
that
Nixon.
doesn't look scary. That's Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
I think FDR went there.
He had been dead for 40 years. and he was
George
still
Bush.
Steve Moore in the foreground with the dark hair there.
That could very well be you.
Yeah, I have nothing to say about any of this.
Yeah, you tried to leave too. We get it.
Yeah, they made me come back, but they didn't tell me I had to talk. I'm not going to talk about any of this.
But also, why is it human nature, or maybe it's just my nature, not human nature, that if people won't tell you about something, that means that it's something bad?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Like,
Why-
if it wasn't bad, you'd tell me.
You know what? I bet it's a very similar phenomenon to why right now when people imagine where AI is going, they imagine the worst case scenario.
Right.
It's gonna be evil. It's going to lead to a dystopian future. There's this, like, why is that where we go first?
Right.
As opposed to like, this is gonna cure all the diseases. This is gonna teach our children in ways we can't even imagine. This is gonna change health. We won't need doctors anymore. Our AI can do it.
Right.
Like there's so many positives. Same with these, but at the same time, there's the Bohemian Grove thing, because it's shrouded in secrecy. But I'm with you, and like it's an interesting human phenomenon that we're going to imagine the worst.
Like, I don't know anything. I really don't know much about the Scientologists, but just because I don't know anything about it, I think it's something
Nefarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Our tendency to ascribe nefarious motives to things that we don't understand.
I think we're all working out of fear.
But why?
Because we want to keep things the way they are. If we have things the way they are, we want to keep them that way. So everything you can talk about is interesting if it's a threat to that. So we're in some way you're being threatened and you're reacting to it. If it's not a bad thing, it's not a threat, you don't have to worry about it so much. So
But it's better to be safe than sorry.
it's better to worry about the things that can hurt you than to try to fool around with things that don't mean anything either way. But yeah, I think the first thing we do with a situation is say, how does that affect me? How do I have to deal with it in my day-to-day world? And if I don't, then it goes back into theorizing. But if you're threatened in some way, you start thinking about how it can threaten you.
Mm-hmm.
So you tend to stay in a negative arena.
I see that nefarious, that preemptively nefarious take on things happening in just like normal social media discourse, where like you'll say something and I'll immediately assume the worst interpretation, the most nefarious interpretation of what you said. You might have just misspoke.
That's not what I said. Well, I know what you meant.
It would be pretty cool if we as a species could stop doing that so much. Like always going to the fear-based response to the most nefarious interpretation of things. Which brings us to the State of the Union address that I know we're all real excited about. It's coming up here in 50 minutes. Our president will be addressing the nation. You going to tune in for that, Dad?
No. He's too old. I don't like hanging out with people that old.
Run with a younger crowd.
Yeah, you know.
What do you think about that? It seems like everyone now, no matter what your political stripes, are willing to talk about Donald Trump and Joe Biden just being too old.
Well, that's one reason I made that statement, because I could get away with it, because you can say that now. But and plus, I'm in their group. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about us.
Right.
So I don't feel like I. But yeah, I think the age thing is a real thing for both of them. I haven't seen. Well, it'll be fascinating tonight to see how well he pulls it off. But even when he pulls it off, he sounds like an old man doing it, and it's just not. It's not energizing. It's not revitalizing. He was 30 years, 20 years younger. He'd be full of vigor.
Right.
But he just doesn't. But I think the sad thing is that we don't have alternatives coming along.
It's so amazing that we don't.
And just the politics in general, the people we get to end up in the political arena are just usually not there for the right reason. That seemed to me, or we're not choosing them right from the very beginning. There's something wrong with it. I get part of it is people get into politics so they can do things that they want to do. Right. And some of those are, the word of the day seems to be nefarious. Yeah, I think there's a whole lot of negativism about the age situation with both of them. I think it's good that that they're both in that category. I mean, I don't listen to Mr. Trump very often, but when I do, he seems to be suffering some of the effects of too much for too long. And I'm not sure that he's ever really figured out some of the things he said, and it doesn't really bother him that much. That's something he has going for him. And I won't talk about him. But yeah, I think the age thing, I do think we need younger people that are, and of course there's that whole quality of experience and everything, and the experiences that you've had can add up to a great store of knowledge, and you would hope that that would be true for these two men that are running for office. But I think when you listen to them for any length of time, you have serious doubts about that.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't want to be critical of either one of them, but you can.
I've been thinking about two things. I've been thinking about like for the last month. One, I wish I could just lose my memory and just somebody would tell me about Trump and see if there's anything that I would possibly like about him. I'm so against him right now that everything that I hear from him is so like I don't even want to hear what he has to say. So I would like to like just start fresh and not like a big Trump supporter, but a normal person. Say, well, this is good about Trump and this is good about Trump. And then I started thinking, there's so many bands that when I was young I didn't like, and now when I listen to them, I'm like I just didn't get it back then. Now I like it, and I'm thinking, when I'm 80, will I look back at Trump and be like, oh, I just didn't understand what he was doing? And I'll keep thinking, man, I can't go that crazy, can I? But maybe, like, is there a possibility that I'm just seeing him so wrong? You think, and that I'll look back and go, oh my gosh, he had some good ideas.
Well, not so much. To ask yourself this question is not. Is it your interpretation of him, or CNN's interpretation of him, or Fox's interpretation of him? Because you're going to get three different
Right.
people there. And that's, I think, a good question,
Right.
is how much of this is what you've been promoted to hear, and how much of it is scare tactics and all that. So you got to parcel that all out and figure out what you really think about them. But
Well, that's what I was sort of saying. Like, what if you, instead of seeing all the clips and like the CNN view and the Fox
Right,
News, what if
exactly.
you just had like a normal person, a normal voice, just sitting there saying he said this, they did this? Would I be like, still be like, oh my God, I can't stand this guy? Or would I be more understanding and like, oh, that's a little bit weird, but you know, maybe he was joking when he said it. You know, it's. I'm so far gone now. I've never, but then I started having this thing like, well, maybe you know, after this is all long gone, I'll look back and go, no, maybe he was right about that. I, like, no, I can't. I can't.
yeah, well, I don't like his style.
Yeah,
his
well,
style's
yeah,
rough.
it's-
He's a bully. And everybody that's been in a playground recognizes he's a bully.
Right.
And that's how he argues to people and cuts them down. And
Well,
it's just not necessary.
But we are facing off against a lot of bullies around the world that,
Yeah.
like, maybe they speak a similar language.
Well,
like,
there
look
you
at
go.
Putin or somebody like that. Like,
That's a very good point.
I would give anything to be able to see into like a magic crystal ball that would have shown me the last 4 years if he had won in 2020. Because I'm really curious. Like, he claims Russia never would have invaded
Right.
Ukraine, and that October 7th never would have happened in Israel. And it's so easy to be like, oh, that's crap. But I'm still curious.
Right.
I'm enough curious that I would definitely give anything to look into a crystal ball to see what would have happened in the world if with him.
Right. Well, like his whole personality. Like, what type of person likes that personality? I mean, if say it wasn't even Trump, and just your neighbor came over and was acting like him, I'd be like, get that clown out of here. I mean, who would be sitting here and that type of personality would come in and be like, oh my God, you're like great, sit down with us, you know, like. But people must love it for, you know, or the people are just desperate for something different, you know. They're just, I don't know. I just can't.
Well, before he
understand it
became the
all.
bane of everyone's existence, he was like an enigmatic character in our culture that
Right.
people liked. Like, you know, like he from all reports, if you hear like non-emotional people talking about who Donald Trump was
Right.
before all this
Right.
mess or whatever, he's a strong personality,
Right.
but makes you feel special. Like he's good.
Right.
He's good at what he does.
Right.
He got to be where he is because of his personality and how he makes you feel special
Right.
when he would do that. It's hard to believe,
That's a good
but
point.
he's
Right.
just a lot of people. You talk to George Clooney or what? I mean, he'll disparage him, especially now, but at the same time, will admit that he was a fun
Right.
hang. Like,
Yeah, that's true. God, but then you just he loves you. Then then he tells the world you're the biggest coward, jackass in the history of the world. You should have never had your position and stuff.
that's sort of how he got mega famous, though. Too was the catchphrase of his show was "You're fired." Like
Right.
the Apprentice Trump. Trump's so interesting because he's a known variable in all of us. We've all heard about him our whole lives, like Trump Towers, and like
Right.
he's an American celebrity
Right.
for so in that sense I'm not as afraid of him as maybe I should be just because
Right.
he's such a known American character, and I don't feel like he's anti-American
Right.
in different ways or whatever. And I don't think that somebody else could have done the same thing.
Right.
I think the fact that everybody sort of thought they knew who Trump was to
Right.
begin with is what makes the whole phenomenon possible and why he got so much attention.
Right.
It's not his ideas, it's not his policy. It's
Well, that's the thing. He's like a huge personality. Then your other choice is like a wet sheet over here. Like if somebody said you want to meet Joe Biden, he's a president. Like, no, not really. Why would I know? He's gonna sit there and look at you and smile. All right, old man, go away. It's like he's not gonna add anything to the party.
tonight's a big night for him, I feel like.
I mean, I don't have anything against. I mean, I don't really know anything about it, but like you described it perfect. Even if his ideas are good, he's like a coach, sitting down, looking at his notes, telling you something. And we're gonna go out there and we're gonna beat this team. Like, can you stand up, wave your fist in the air?
We need to get pumped up here.
That was a great speech. Maybe we'll speed it up, put some music behind it. And
Good idea.
I feel like
but that's not his fault.
who Biden's?
Yeah, he is.
He's
He's
doing
an
the best
older
he
guy.
can.
Yeah.
I definitely feel for him. Tonight's a big night for him, and I can't imagine what he must be thinking right now.
Now, do you think the Republicans will have any booze and all that, raise a stink and stuff?
Yeah, I do, which I think is really sad.
Yeah.
That all started
I find that
during
so disrespectful.
Obama. When the first shout out, I feel like I witnessed it when someone heckled Obama. I was like, what? It's like the first time I saw a cuss word in a headline in a newspaper when Trump was running. I was just
Right.
like, we are going down the toilet here which is funny to me as a young punk or whatever, being like, oh gosh, we are really losing our way. They're heckling the president and they're cursing in the headlines of newspapers. We have fallen.
but there's a time, like I'm gonna sound like an old man too. But there's a time and a place to you don't air your grievances in front of the people, the millions of people that you're trying to convince that you're all working together to make the world better. Mm-hmm. It's like and I remember seeing that too. You're thinking, nothing's going to work anymore. We can't even sit at a table and discuss anything anymore,
Mm-hmm.
which is a discouraging, way to look at the world. Oh.
No doubt.
Yeah, I have some feelings, but I don't know that this is the forum for,
About what?
about the politics.
All of it?
The whole political scene.
Now, have you ever seen anything like it in your life that you could compare it to?
Well,
The 60s were
Richard
crazy.
Nixon.
Yeah.
Nixon was a sneaky little guy.
We forget just how insane the 60s were. I mean, it seems like politics and culture wars are so dystopian right now, but the 60s still make today pale. And I mean, people were getting assassinated right and left. There was...
Like the '60s, when I was growing up in high school, I loved reading about Chicago and all that stuff. But I always felt like I was on their side. I was like the Jerry Rubin and the Abby Hoffman and the whatever the different people, Elridge Cleaver and all them. You were like, yeah, they were right. And I'm thinking maybe these morons nowadays with the MAGA stuff are the same way that I was for them. It's like, now, yeah, protest. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you're protesting for the wrong? But then people back then were thinking the same thing about all these people that I admire.
I definitely remember, like, in the early days of the Trump phenomenon, or the Tea Party even, or whatever, it was like, oh no, the right wing has now figured out how much fun all this is. All the meeting for rallies, the protests, the activists, you're getting together, you're writing poetry, you're drinking wine, you're fighting the system. And like the left always sort of had that little secret up our sleeve that we know how life affirming, how community building and all these things to get together and protest and all that stuff. And I saw it happening. I would just see the looks on their faces at some of these things. It's like, oh no, we're so screwed. They figured out how much fun it is.
And Trump annoys me too that he's never. I would just wish he would just say he did one thing wrong.
Oh, God.
Like, how can you never have done? I mean, none of us here can say we've never done anything wrong.
No, far from
He's
it.
got videotapes and proven stuff. I didn't do it. Just admit it. I would like him so much better if he would just say, "Yep, I did it. What is the fine? I owe you $250 million. Screw it, I did it. You know, you caught me." God, you could drag it out forever. You know you did it. Why you this? A real man would not just lie. If he was a real tough guy, he would say, "I did it. Do what you gotta do to me, and let's move on. I'm gonna beat your ass in the president election." But, oh my God, we gotta stop talking about him. I'm gonna go off the rails.
What's going on in the chat? Oh, goodness. Well, time got away
Got
from
time
us
for your-
again. We
got
did
time
it
for your
again,
protest
folks.
song.
We did it again, folks.
Do you know?
Gosh.
Do you know any of the classic Tea Party protest songs you can sing?
Yeah, what would that be?
Now, what do you think?
Most of the ones they use, the musicians come out and say, "Would you quit using my?" You see that D. Snyder post was so good. It's like, just remember, every time you play, "We're not gonna take it," you're playing the song from a cross-dressing lefty
and all that YMCA
that
stuff.
wrote that song about people like Trump,
I know, like the YMCA stuff.
right? Gosh.
Now, do we still? I mean, do we still have like Troubadour and like Woody Guthrie type people that are writing songs?
The
That
right wing does.
Like who? Like what are they?
Opie Anthony, what's his name? Anthony, that Richmond, north of Richmond.
Oh,
That was another one of these moments I've had in the last few years where I'm like, am I looking through the looking glass here? And now the right wing has folk singers too. Like, they're the ones like having life affirming experiences, protesting things, and they got folk singers now going viral. Like that was the most viral folk song in the last 20 years, and it was all.
But he wasn't proposing it. I mean, he's a liberal,
Well,
I thought, in the way his philosophy.
he's definitely done really good work after the success of that song to sort of like
that's
to be
all I'm
open
going.
to learning, and because there were definitely some red flags scattered through that song, that initial song where
Red,
he's
white, and blue flags too.
well, the thing is, I don't know.
give yourself a bump. Yeah. Nailed it.
There's a person that I'm friends with in Richmond that posted it as I don't know if you know who Billy Bragg is. You know who Billy Bragg is?
Oh,
That he has a song almost just like that.
well, he did a response. He wrote a
Oh,
song
okay.
in response to Opie's
Oh, okay,
song,
okay.
and it was good.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if I can get through this. Well, thank you all very much. I'm sorry you're not feeling great, Dad. But thank you for doing it.
Sorry, I couldn't do much tonight. But
We love you.
And here's Nathan's version of "We're Gonna Tear the White House Down." I thought you were getting ready to give the power sign. Come on, take out the kid, take it to the street.
I wanna play like Jelly Roll Morton, write like Waldo Emerson, sing like Odetta, say give me liberty like Patrick Henry. I wanna escape like Houdini on the very last breath. I wanna fly straight as an arrow, crooked sparrow. I wanna swallow fire, I wanna paint the town red. I wanna understand under, and hold the whole world up over my head. Woo-hoo. grow old with a wife, catch every kind of fish. Lord, I'd give anything if I could play the fiddle. I want to know the recipe for every dish. I want to bust some moves on the dance floor. Want to sit in the back of a debaucherist den. I want to live to be 120, tell wondrous tales to my great-great-grandchildren. Ooh. Yeah, I want to be a stand-up comedian. I want to start a new twist in philosophy. I want to be a cowboy and an Indian. I want to be an E.E. Cummings apostrophe. I want to be fluent in every language. I want to be a painter, the next Abby Hoffman. I want to be the mayor of my hometown in the Blue Ridge Mountains. I got to get there more often. Yeah, I want to take the plunge to the depths of madness. I want to sit in the clear like a Buddhist monk. I want to... I want to turn the tables like Jesus. I want to cross all borders in a smuggler's trunk. I want to write code like a rogue programmer. I want to sell potions on the side of the street. I want to survive some grisly summer, learning which berries are safe to eat. Ooh. I want to do tricks in a biplane smoking, be able to fix anything that gets broken. I want to hang on when the question is spoken, want to let go when the wind is blowing. I want a light bulb to go off in my head like Einstein, want to get my brain around what Tesla said. I want to understand, hold the whole world up over my head. I want to understand, hold the whole world up over my head. That's all. Just want to understand, hold the whole world. That's all. Too much to ask. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next time.
That's a song for the future.
Thank you.
That's a song for us old folks and you kids.
There you go. Bucket list.
Very nice.
We did it. We made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't pull my weight. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I'm sorry you're feeling bad. I know you're not allowed to talk about your Bohemian Grove experiences. I probably shouldn't have brought that up.
Yeah, I'd rather stay away from that. They're going to stop and bite me out.
Yeah, your other fellows there will be proud of the way you held your tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah, they saw you. You're in camera, leaving the room. So you're in the clear, and we got your back.
Perfect.
Not that they listen to commenters, but we got your back.
We should sell T-shirts that archive that says like Bohemian Grove 2024.
Yeah, I mean, I was just entertainment, but I was still there. You know, it's not like I was one of the 100, but